Alexandra, from interviewing Ron Howard over the years, he always strikes me not just as a very friendly, nice person, but hugely energetic as well. How would you describe the way that he works with his actors, and how much was him being involved part of the draw of the project?
He's absolutely wonderful, and I absolutely agree with you. His energy is special, and there's something very contagious about his enthusiasm, I think, on set and about a film, about a project. I didn't audition for the film. I had a Skype conversation with Ron, which was very funny, but he made me feel good. I was very nervous to begin with, and then he made me feel very good after 5 minutes. And I just love, he's this incredible, experienced director. He's incredible. Particularly in Rush, he had to concentrate on so many details, to please as well the Formula One fans, to not have them sit in the audience later and think, oh God, that looks fake. Or he had to be concentrating on so many things, and he's done that in such a wonderful way. And at the same time, he always seems to be kind of effortless. Yeah. I loved working with him.
And he's made several films based in the 70s before, hasn't he, as well? And it's
yes.
kind of hit his era when he was coming through and with his TV career as well, wasn't
yes.
it? Yes. Yeah. And how would you describe your character, Mileena, as you play her in the film?
Well, I think that for Olivia Wilde and me, it was a different kind of challenge, because the focus is very much, of course, on the two men, on these two legendary sportsmen, Niki Lauda and James Hunt. So I think it was quite a challenge to being more in the background, to still put the right accents in the right moments of the film, and hopefully give the audience a bit of an insight of their private lives. I really liked that, but I thought that was challenging as well.
And how do we get to see them kind of get together, as it were, in the film? I mean, to start with, Mileena doesn't really know who he is, does she?
Yes, which I absolutely adore. If someone is famous and you have no clue, it's always quite a funny situation, and I absolutely love that, how in a cliche way you think that the Italians stop for her because she's wearing this gorgeous dress and she's standing there, and at the end of the day it has nothing to do with her. It's all focus on Niki Lauda. I think it's very charming how that whole scene introduces Marlene's character.
And the speeding scene looked very fun as well. Was that quite fun to shoot? Did you go quite fast?
Well, yes, absolutely. It was partly, of course, we shot the scene in different ways. I also was sitting next to Daniel, but then later I was also sitting next to Stunt Driver, of course. And he really drove the car very fast, and I'm not the biggest fan of fast driving, but you see, I didn't have to do much acting in that moment.
And what do you think this period must have been like for Mileena in her life? Watching her husband sort of go into quite a dangerous sport at the time, wasn't it? And then not only that, go back after the accident just 6 weeks later.
Well, I was always wondering, to be honest. Also, I've seen the documentary about Senna, and but generally speaking, girlfriends and wives of police officers, or I'm always wondering how these women by their sides are dealing with their fears and worries, and I admire that very much. I don't know exactly if that would be for me. I think I would be far too emotional and nervous, and but anyway, I thought that was an interesting field to explore for me. And yes, the accident, I think it's something. It took my breath away when I saw the film. And although you know what's going to happen, and you know that the accident is going to happen, when you see it, it's it really took my breath away. And I think it must have been a heartbreaking experience. And even more so, I admire the fact that she knew her husband well enough to just let him carry on instead of begging him to stop, which is what I think I would have done.
And you mentioned the 70s period detail, and of course we get some great fashion as well. Costume designer Julian Day has come up with some great creations, along with some fashion houses as well. What did you particularly enjoy wearing in the film?
Well, it's the second time I worked with Julian, because I've done a film with him called Control, which was also a very specific time. And I find it's always a fantastic and great help for me. It's always the moment when I also start feeling the character a bit better in the moment when I'm in costume and hair and makeup is done or something. I don't feel anymore like it's me that I'm looking at in the mirror, which is always a good feeling. And I absolutely enjoyed and loved it, although it's not necessarily my time, I think. The 70s is not my fashion dream or something. I really loved, yeah.
Usually the decade that fashion forgot, but it doesn't look so much so in the film. You know, the best side of it, I think, is in the film, isn't it?
I think so too, yeah, absolutely.
And just finally, for anyone who might think the film is just about Formula One and boys in fast cars, what would you say maybe to tempt them into the cinema to come and see?
Well, you know, when I saw it in Berlin with my parents, with my husband, very different generations, different people, and we all enjoyed it so much. And I think it's really, for me, I think it's cinema at its best. I think you don't need to know anything about Formula One or like Formula One. It's a very emotional film. It's a highly entertaining film. It's very, very funny at times. And on top of everything, it's a very touching and personal story, and so I really think it's a film for everybody, and I really hope, because I loved it so much, that a lot of people will go and watch it. Yeah.
I know, yes, I hope so too. Alexandra Maria Lara, thanks very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.